the stream. Hopefully it isn't too far away. There's Open Tier 1, there's the Elite Series stream. It's currently loading to the channel as I speak. Audio is working as it should, the stream's up, the chat's up, we're all good to go. Well, hello everyone and welcome to round 4 of the PlayStation Elite Series here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Lane Everingham, your lead commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at the brand new Miami International Autodrome for the Miami Grand Prix. The most recent addition to the Formula One world, Miami is a 5.41 kilometer 19-turn circuit that takes place around the Hard Rock Stadium, located within the suburb of Miami Gardens. The circuit features a wide variety of unique bends designed to test the drivers to the very limit. The main areas of concern will be the high-speed sweepers and bends within the first sector and the tight Mickey Mouse section created by turns 12 through 16 in the middle sector. The circuit also consists of 3 DRS zones. The first leads down the main straightaway into turn 1, the second leads up to turn 11, and the final leads down the huge straight into the incredibly tight turn 17. The 3 DRS zones will most likely prove to be the best overtaking spots on the circuit for both races. That's right, this round at Miami will be Race Spec's first ever sprint round. Qualifying will determine the grid for the sprint. The top 10 from the sprint will score points from 10 to 1, and the results from that sprint race will determine the starting order for the main race. So there are plenty of points to play for here in Miami, but before we focus on qualifying, there is a bit of news to go through first from the previous race at Monza. Quite a few incidents of note, and some of which we caught on stream. There was also some penalty removals, the first of which is GeForce Pato. He got his 3-second time penalty removed from his next to his name. Luke M201 was given a total of 15 seconds and 3 penalty points for 2 separate incidents. And Gilles was given a 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points for an incident we actually caught on stream at the Ascari chicane. With those penalties applied, GeForce Pato will move from P11 to P6 in the final results. Luke will be demoted from P15 to P17, and Roscoe, who also got a penalty removed, he got a stupid 10-second time penalty for some reason. The game just being stupid, I suppose. He was given a 10-second time penalty. That was removed, but he would only gain a place in the final result. He would move from P17 to P16. In the Drivers' Championship, Marcus Costa is leading the way on 74 points, followed by Silderfort on 53, so 21 points separating the top 2 in the championship. 3 points behind is Ferrari Pro on 50, followed by Bags Liddell with 42, then Gilles with 40. Vengeance, Costa's teammate in the Williams, is on 30 points in P6, followed by Plevs on 28, Spicy on 26, Karma on 22, and rounding out the top 10 is Pump on 21 points. In the Constructors, Williams are leading on 104 points, followed by Red Bull Racing on 75. So Williams have got quite a comfortable lead after 3 rounds in the Constructors' Championship. Next is Ferrari on 69, followed by McLaren on 57. Haas on 49, McLaren on 49. Haas on 45, Mercedes on 41, Alpine on 22, AlphaTauri on 21, and Alfa Romeo at the bottom of the championship order with 10 points. Well, that's pretty much the introduction out of the way. I can now introduce my co-commentator for tonight, who is once again KD1997. KD, this is a kind of home track for you. What are you looking forward to with this Miami Grand Prix?
Well, with the Miami Grand Prix, it's going to be very interesting how the drivers are tested to the limits of the traction zones. Quite a bit of traction zones, like turns 2 and 3. You got to be very careful how much throttle you use around there, and then of course how much balance the setups are going to be, because you want a setup basically that is good in the corners, mainly the first sector, like basically through those sweeping bends. But you also need some straight line speed, particularly in that back straight that leads in turn 11, and that 1 kilometer or 1.1 kilometer straight that goes underneath the freeway bridge. it's basically like Mexico in a sense, just to find that perfect balance. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that will fare out, and of course how these guys will fare with this track because we've never driven here before. So, of course, maybe we could see some drama. Who knows?
I reckon we will see some drama, especially with the new format that we're running for this event with the sprint race format. That is a Aston Martin around. That would be Bags Liddell, who has made a mistake at turn 17. As Ferrari Pro jumps to the top of the table with a 28.275. Currently, the top two in qualifying, as I speak, are separated by 8 thousandths of a second. So even on the new racetrack, qualifying is proving to be incredibly competitive, which is fantastic to see. But of course, we've got essentially 2 qualifying sessions. We've got this session in front of us and the sprint race, which I believe is going to be 10 laps long. And I imagine we're going to see a fair bit of drama over the course of that particular race. It will also be interesting to see what the drivers do in terms of strategy for that sprint race event, because I believe for this qualifying session you're allowed 3 sets of soft compound tyres, not 4 sets, and that's because the game gives you an extra set of mediums for the sprint race, but they're completely optional. If you were in their position, KD, would you take a gamble and try and do the sprint race on the soft tyre? Would you do it on the medium?
No, I would go with the medium because Miami does tend to get some tire wear on the soft tire. So I think the safer option is to go for the medium. I'm saying this because I have done this I have driven on this track before in another league and in a sprint format, and the best tire to go to, and I could say is the medium, because I remember a lot of the drivers that I raced against used the medium tire. Only a couple used the soft tire, but of course that tire was completely useless for them.
Oh, fair enough then. But would you be surprised if a few drivers took the gamble as Plebs has a spin? That's at turn 7, entering turn 8. Fortunately, there's plenty of runoff on the outside, so he gathers the car up and he gets going again. But yeah, would you be surprised if a few drivers took the gamble?
If it was like a couple, not really, but if it's like maybe like more than let's say 5 drivers, then I would be a little bit surprised.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, it's always interesting with these sprint races that that extra layer of strategy is brought into the event. Something that we don't typically see in normal Grand Prix in this game, because a lot of the time the strategy is medium hard and then you go to the end of the race. Whereas this, you've got that extra set of mediums that you could play around with, that you could use in the sprint, or you could save it for the main race as ACW jumps to the top with a 27.8. He's 4/10 clear of Ferrari Pro in P2. But, I'm kind of looking forward to this event. Just a big old unknown about this racetrack, about the format that we're running. It is quite intriguing, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of the racing was quite dull, just because of how difficult this circuit can be. You got some really tight sections like what you have in the middle sector, and you got some really difficult corners. As you pointed out, the traction zone through turns 2 and 3, it is seriously nasty in these cars. So it'll be very interesting to see.
Oh yes, and then you got that stupid chicane, which is by far the most insignificant part of racetrack I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, it's up there, for sure.
It's terrible. It really is.
It was like that in real life as well. A lot of the drivers were not a fan of that particular section, and I remember hearing that the owners of the circuit were planning of redoing that particular part of the racetrack just to make it a bit nicer. Because, it's really inconsequential. Except for during qualifying, because, you can see drivers just drift out wide heading into the chicane, like Bags is going through right now. You have to use a nice wide line heading into the chicane. If you go a little bit too wide, you cop a warning and a track and lap invalidation. So it can be quite annoying during qualifying, and I have seen that a couple of times during this session. But I do kind of hope they redo that particular part of the circuit, because it's not great. It's not a great bit of track.
It's not necessary. Not even close.
Yeah, pretty much. as Bags crosses the line, jumps up to P6 with a 28.5, essentially. Nick, he's caught himself into some trouble. He's got a completely missing front wing on that Alpine, so he'll have to duck into pit lane and get it fixed. There is a Ferrari right behind him. Is that Chip or is that Ferrari Pro? Must be Ferrari Pro.
Yeah, he's just on an outlap at the moment.
Chip will cross the line here to jump up to P9, so he moves into the top 10 with a 29.1. Let's see here. Who else is on a flying lap? It seems that Spicy's going to begin a flying lap. Tell you what, we're right on board with the Mercedes driver. Give you a guided tour of this circuit into turn 1. Now the tricky traction zone of turns 2 and the long right-hand sweeper of turn 3. You can see there we go.
Bye-bye.
Perfect demonstration. He was hovering at about 90% throttle.
Hello, the Red Bull.
Yeah, Ghosting will be working.
Yeah, I know Ghosting's on. Yeah, I know it was on, but...
he was hovering at about 90% throttle, pretty much all the way around the turn. And then he just... hello, Ferrari! That was unnecessary!
Did he make contact?
Yeah, they definitely made contact. They 100% made contact. That was Ferrari Pro making his way through. Yeah. Spicy had absolutely no idea he was coming. No idea whatsoever. And he drove straight into Ferrari Pro. That's probably ruined his flying lap.
Oh, yeah, it has. He's down by 6.5 tenths because of that.
Yeah, and he switched off the battery as well, so he's going to make his way back into the pits. So, that's just really unfortunate from Ferrari Pro and just, quite frankly, lazy from Spicy. Just not paying attention to what's behind him as Karma's lost it. Oh, wow, he lost it out of 16, and he put it into the left-hand side wall. Right on board here with Ferrari Pro. There he is there. So, yeah, coming out of the corner, gassed it up too much and put it into the wall. That would be my guess.
Yeah, that's a mistake I've done if I've ever practiced around that area.
Especially when you race on this track for the first time. Yeah, it's quite nerve-wracking how little traction you have as Marcus improves by a 10.5. Stays P3, though, with a 28.1. ACW getting ready to set a flying lap. He's making his way around the hairpin of turn 17. Well, we rode on board with one Mercedes. They spun out at turn 3. We'll ride on board with the other one and hopefully give you a proper tour of this 5.4 kilometre racetrack. Down the main straightaway towards turn 1, a potential overtaking spot on the circuit, bringing it down to 4th gear, just clipping the apex through turn 2, using plenty of inside curb, through turn 3, nice wide line at the apex of turn 3, then brings it back to the right-hand side of the circuit on the exit, into turn 4, then turn 5, into the beginning of this triple left-hander, turn 6, turn 7, using all of the track on the outside there, and turn 8. Now down this flat-out section, he's currently up by 0.3 of a second to the first sector. Around turn 9, he'll open DRS and head around turn 10, up towards turn 11, which is, I would guess, the second best overtaking spot on the circuit. Down to 3rd gear, missed the apex by a little bit. He gets a nice exit around turn 12, now into the Mickey Mouse section, turns 13, into 14 and 15, the chicane, clobbering the curbs, now into turn 16. Important that you get this right so you can maximize the top speed down this straightaway. And as you can see, he actually lost time to the middle sector. He's only up now by a 10.5. Down towards turn 17, which I would guess is the best overtaking spot on the circuit. It's certainly the biggest braking zone, braking out the 100-meter board, bringing it down to 3rd gear, gently applying the power on the exit, around turn 18, then the final corner, turn 19. He'll cross the line to jump up to pole position. 1 minute 27.553 was his lap time. Can anyone challenge that?
Good question. Well, Silverfort's coming on a flying lap right now. That is actually really quick too, as well. Mm-hmm. Silverfort had a snap of oversteer there coming out of turn 12.
Great catch though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Almost puts it into the wall too there at the exit of 16. He was very close to it.
Yeah, I think I might cost him a bit of time though. He's down by 10.5 at the middle sector.
Still pushing though, he's still using battery, so he's not giving up. We'll see what he can do here in the final sector. It needs to be a pretty spot-on final sector here for him to improve. Out of 17, and look, now he's going back into the pits, fair enough. And he comes. And he floors it into pit lane. I find it very strange that the pit limiter line is before the chicane at pit entry. I find that to be a bit silly because the chicane is designed to slow the cars down. So why isn't the chicane before the pit limiter line? Like,
you have to ask the designers. That's
it's just strange. Like, you pull up to the pits at 80 kilometers. Oh, hello, that's a McLaren stopped. Is that Plevs? No, it's Pump. Oh, I did notice Pump left the session, and his car's just, well,
it's at the back.
It's oscillating.
Yeah, it's at the back straight. But that's the beginning of it.
Look what the AI is trying to do. It's just constantly shifting between first and neutral.
Yeah.
Strange.
And he's just moving this steering wheel a bit erratically.
Yeah. Well, according to the game, he's in pit lane, and he's definitely not in the pits. He almost is as far away from the pits as you could possibly be. So.
Okay.
It's not on the racing line, I think, and he's ghosting, so he won't impede anybody. So should be okay. Powerside make his way through. Oh, hello, Haas. Is that Hillers? No, it's not. It must be his teammate Andre coming out of the pits.
Yeah, Hillers is just coming out now. Followed by an Aston Martin.
Marcus Costa not using any battery, so he's on preparation laps, it seems. Marcus trying to get rid of some of the excess fuel that you can't get rid of in the garage. It's a wise thing to do in preparation for your final flying lap. Seems that Ferrari Pro is doing a similar thing here. He's currently P4 with a 28.2. He is currently 7/10 off pole position. That's quite a big gap to try and close in, but I wouldn't put it past Ferrari Pro. He's quite a capable driver, and he's in a pretty solid position as is in P4. But he sets off around turn 18, around turn 19, and down the main straightaway to begin what will more than likely be his final flying lap. Down into turn 1, down to third gear. Back on the power gently as he heads through turn 2. Now around turn 3. He still isn't at full throttle. Now he's at full throttle about halfway around turn 3. Now into the S's. Turns 4, 5, into turn 6. And the double left of 7 and 8. Down to third gear. Will he short shift? No, doesn't need to short shift at all as somebody improved, I think. Couldn't quite tell who that was. Who improved?
There was a Haas that just came across the line. I think that might have been Hillis.
Yeah, not sure.
Nope.
But yeah, I definitely saw the leaderboard flicker. Yeah. Might have just been seeing things. Around turn 12 goes Ferrari Pro. Heading around turn 13. Now up towards the chicane. Turns 14 and 15. Clobbering over the curbs nicely. Using all of the racetrack there on the entry to turn 16, and he's currently up by 2.5 tenths. Now that's not enough to challenge for pole, but if he can find more time here in the final sector, he might be able to challenge P2, which is currently Silderford. His teammate Chip has had a moment through the S section. You can see the red dot stationary before turn 6, so I think for Chip his qualifying session is over.
Yeah, he's just pulling over for cars to go through.
Ferrari Pro has jumped up to P3. He's overtaken Marcus Costa, who is on a flying lap. He's making his way around turn 9. He'll open DRS and head towards turn 11, the big braking zone of turn 11. Meanwhile, Silverfort's currently down by 2 tenths to the first sector. ACW.
I didn't catch what he was up by. It didn't pop up for me.
That's okay. We'll see what he's talking. Oh, and Costa's invalidated.
Oh, Marcus invalidated. Yep. Yeah, he clobbered too much of the curve there. And same with Spicy. He's also invalidated as well. Yeah, and Bags Liddell.
Yeah, so a lot of guys ruining their final runs. ACW is still on the lap here.
Still the Ford's done the same thing. He's invalidated too.
Yikes. So yeah, a lot of these guys screwing up their final runs. And ACW, it doesn't look like he's going to improve. He's currently down by 1/10. Just over 1/10 to the middle sector. He's heading up towards turn 17. He'll get on the brakes, bringing it all the way down to second gear. Back on the power in third gear. Doesn't have any hint of oversteer or maybe a little bit of wheel spin on the exit. As Plevs jumps up to P4, ACW crosses the line. He sets 27.7. It's not enough for him to improve, but he's going to start from pole position for the sprint race.
Yeah, and it's a very solid lap there from ACW by 0.2 of a second to Silderford as well. Close qualifying. But there was something I pointed out to you, obviously, before we came on, was just the fact about, since this is a sprint format, and I think you mentioned it too, added on to what we were saying before we came on, about how, like, the times would be different if you did a short quali but no sprint, to a short quali with a sprint. Obviously because of the rubber, that you don't really get much rubber accumulated with a sprint format, so the times are going to be slower than what you would do if it was without it. So, like, let's say if these times were, like, without it, you probably would see times either in the lower 27s, maybe close to high, maybe even mid 26s if lucky. But
that's that's
like
accurately simulated within the game, because it is a fair point that with a sprint qualifying format, there will be less time on track during practice, so there's less rubber on the circuit for this qualifying session, which would result in lower times, slower times. So, but the results from the sprint qualifying: ACW will start from pole, followed by Silderfort, Ferrari Pro, Plebs, Costa, Spicy, Liddell, Vengeance, Chip. Nick rounds out the 10, followed by Pato, Pump, Hillez, Zach, Roscoe on Power Site, Marvelin, Karma, and Andre will start from the back after not setting a lap time.
Yeah, no, I just say that because of, like, the comparisons I've done in GP mode from, like, sprints format and without it. But yeah, because I've done, like, with PB, maybe, like, similar to what ACW has done, like 27.6 I think it is, but my PB with it. Without it, though, I think either a 26.9 or a 26.8, I want to say, as a PB.
Right.
So, like, that's just what I'm saying. There's, like, a bit of a comparison with that, I think, because of the rubber and whatnot.
Like I said, if that's actually a feature within the game, then kudos to, well, there you go. We don't have to worry about strategy for this. Wet weather race wasn't informed at all, I think.
No, there wasn't even anything in the comments. Nope,
So,
neither was I.
Don't need to worry about starting on either softs or mediums. They're going to be starting on, what, the intermediate tyre? There are a few puddles in pit lane. I don't know if they'll be starting on the wet tyre.
Looks like wet tires to me, because I could see blue striped tires on the in the Mercedes garage.
Yeah.
Well, at least we've seen what Florida's known for.
A lot of rain down in the south.
A lot of rain in South Florida.
Down in the bayou. So.
Not really. Well, the bayou's more in Louisiana, if you want to, more specifically.
Yeah. As the drivers set off on their formation lap. Yeah, wet weather tyres, it appears. For everybody except Karma. Karma down in P18 is starting on the intermediate tyre.
Interesting.
Might be that the conditions are going to ease up towards the end of the sprint, which might put him in a nicer position on those tyres. Because, of course, as we know, tyre temperatures are a major issue in this game. So if you're on the wrong compound tyre at the wrong time, you can be royally screwed. At least with the intermediate tyre, you can get them up to almost an operating range in wet weather conditions. But for the full wet tyre, in intermediate conditions, they can get quite hot. So, or it could be just a flat-out mistake from Karma. Who knows? So,
well, only one way to find out once we get to the race.
Yeah, we don't need the tyre graphic then. We know that everyone except Karma is going to be starting on the wet tyre, the full wet tyre. He is starting on the intermediates. No, if this track just couldn't get any trickier, it just has.
Yeah, well, they get to experience what Florida's like, but it's it's funny how they call it the Sunshine State. Probably should call it to the... Yeah, I'm not joking about that. Sunshine State. But no, maybe should they call it the Rainy State or something, or the Humid State, I don't know.
The Humid State would probably work quite well, I'd imagine.
It would. It would definitely.
But it doesn't quite provide the sort of positive vibes of sunny. I guess that would be the major issue.
Yeah, well.
But at least it'll be truthful, because, yeah. Plenty of rain here down in Miami.
Yes.
Drivers are making their way back up to the main straightaway. ACW starting from pole position. Will he start from the inside or the outside for turn one?
It's the outside line.
Interesting.
Yeah, they said for pole for outside line.
Interesting. Well, if Silderford gets a better start, or as ACW's just overshot his pit box, if Silderford gets a better start, he'll have the inside line for turn one. Be able to send it in deep and try and take the lead immediately. Can we get a nice shot of the start? Probably not, to be honest.
No, well, no in the game, yes.
Alright. We got 10 red lights. And the first ever Race Spec Sprint race is underway. It's a nice start from Ferrari Pro in P3 as the leaders head down towards turn one for the first time. It's 3 wide, heading to turn one, and through goes Ferrari Pro into the race lead. A fantastic start. Side by side they go through turn two, around turn three for the first time in these incredibly tricky conditions. Down towards the S section now. Silderford trying to hang on to P3. He can't do it though. Costa's through into third. Side by side between Plevs and Silderford as they head around turn 6. Plevs is into P4. So a nice move there. Creating an overtake at turn 4. Around turn 8. Heading down the flat out section towards turns 9 and 10. What a fantastic start from Ferrari Pro. He had the whole shot down the middle to turn 1. He's taken the lead and he's already got a 1.3 second margin. Now Costa's on the attack down towards turn 11, looking down the inside, and he takes P2 with absolute... He's overshot it deeply.
He's overshot it a little bit. Yeah, I think though he'll hold it off at least an hour to turn 12. Yeah, he does hold it at least for now.
Through the chicane of turns 14 and 15 up towards 16. ACW not having the best of starts. Probably that reset on the grid hasn't helped him. But, he might also be running a dry setup from qualifying. It might actually be a dry race. We've actually have absolutely no idea. As the leaders head down towards turn 17. Oh, Bags going in deep. Contact with Nick. And through goes Chip, through goes Vengeance, through goes Hillers. Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh, and he rejoins in front of Pato. Oh, dearie me. Oh, dearie me.
That could have turned nasty very quick, but Bags on the lock stops there at turn 17. He just about got it pulled up, but he still made contact with Nick, who has been shafted down to P11. Oh, he's put himself into the wall at turn 3. Just briefly there, and he's now lost 7th, and he might lose 8th here. Down the inside, Vengeance looks. Can't quite get the move done, but Bags is compromised. As they head through turn 6, Vengeance looking round the outside here at 7 and 8. Can he get the move done? Not quite, but he does have enough traction to keep the fight alive. Heading up towards turn 9, and he'll get in front of Bags here. Through the right-hander of 9, into turn 10. Can Bags fight back here? Does he want to fight back at turn 11? Doesn't have to worry about Hillez too much. No, he's just going to pull the car up. Hillez just minding his own business in P10. The field is still quite bunched up as Karma's lost a significant amount of time. Look, in P19, 8.8 seconds down.
Well, Pete's clearly made the mistake of spending those intermediate tires. Yep. That's definitely for sure.
And someone else who was in trouble is Hillez. I've just noticed he's missing an end plate on the right-hand side of that front wing. So he won't be producing as much downforce as he would like in that Haas. But he's still looking comfy in P10. Here comes Vengeance on CBF Chip down the inside. And he'll get him quite easily. Gets the Williams pulled up nice. Oh, Nick, contact with Nick and Bags, I believe. Off the road goes Hillez. He rejoins safely. As Pato moves into P12, Nick is going into pit lane.
Well, that could have been so much worse there.
And I think he's going to retire as well.
Yep, and you just called it. Allow me to start from the back then.
Yep. Long race in front of Nick. But yeah, he went in deep at turn 17. Fairly similar to Bags, actually. In fact, he hit Bags at 17. Almost spun him out. Yeah, some drama going on. Some expected drama in these sort of conditions. And during a sprint race as well, as Spicy has a moment coming out of turn 8. Gathers it up nicely. He's 9/10 behind Silderford, and it's not going to be easy to pass in these conditions, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. And meanwhile, Ferrari still maintaining that 1.4 second gap. He's still hanging on at least. Seems like the top 3 are almost similar when it comes to the pace. I probably will also include Plebs and Silderford because they're slowly getting there.
Oh,
not
that's
quite there, but they're getting
Andre
there.
running awfully wide there. At turn 11.
And contact between Spicy and Silderford. Oh, I thought that was going to end up worse there. He tagged the back of him going through the chicane, the exit of the chicane.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Yeah, he nearly lost the back end there, Silderford, but gathered it back up.
Fight is still very much alive between these two. Spicy doing what he can to apply pressure. As Marvelant overtakes Powerside for P14. Ferrari Pro is setting fastest laps here, 42.1. Possibly suggesting that the conditions are improving out there. So, Hilles goes into pit lane as well.
Yeah, so he must have some damage. Oh yeah, that's right. No, you mentioned about that already. Yeah, not the end plate damage.
Intermediates? Yep.
Yep. Might as well. Just do something there.
I mean, all he can pray for really is a safety car at some point. Try and help him out. Costa's lost time here to not only Ferrari Pro, but probably more critically to ACW. ACW is close to within a second. Make that 7/10 of a second of Marcus Costa as they head towards turn 11. Now, with the conditions easing, and I'm guessing they're easing based off Ferrari Pro setting fastest laps and Hilles pitting onto intermediates. Maybe that dryer setup in ACW's car is starting to switch on. Starting to show a little bit more pace.
Oh, Marcus, yeah. Nearly goes into the wall there.
Yeah, really demonstrating how traction limited you are around here. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, especially with these things.
It's almost as if it's like every part of the racetrack as well. It's like you're tiptoeing, even in the dry. It can feel like you're tiptoeing around a fair bit of this racetrack, just trying not to spin out. So you can imagine in these conditions how much more tiptoeing these drivers are doing just to try and get round as Andre overtakes Powersight for P14.
And it sets fast lap, 42-1.
So pace is increased. A moment from Plevs.
What's happened? What's happened to Plevs? I was just going to mention that he made a mistake at turn 1, and Silverfort's all over the back of him. Yep,
here we go. Up towards turn 4, the beginning of the S section. Down to 5th gear for Silverford around turn 5. Using a healthy amount of curb. A little bit of understeer there for Silverford. Yellow flags are out. It's Pato. Yeah.
Into the wall. Or close to the wall.
Ooh.
I'm not sure if he's got that. Well, I was going to say I'm not sure if he's in the wall. He's now in the wall.
Yep.
No damage from what I could see on that front wing of his.
I don't think he'd be too concerned. He's down in 16th place. He'll be just be trying to get to the end of the race now as Plevs... as Silverford has a moment rather. Spicy trying to look around the outside here at turn 12, which will turn to the inside at 13. It's a fight on in contact. More contact. Into the
Bumper
chicane.
Cars. Oh dear.
Running wide, and here comes Vengeance into the fray. Around the outside, he's looking at 16. Almost into the wall he goes there at turn 16.
Jeez. Yeah, guys, you don't want to go side by side through there.
Silverford starting to move his car over to defend the inside line for 17. Spicy checking up early, allowing Silverford to defend his position, and he's going to try and get an over-under here.
Switchback.
Here we go. Around turn 18. That is tight.
That was very close.
Good driving at the end of the day. Because they're still running, the pair of them. They're still going. But yeah, that could have been really nasty.
Here comes Roscoe and Bags. So Bags were extremely wide. turn 1.
I think he just left the door open for Roscoe to just get on with it. And I think Bags would be happy with 1 point at the very least.
Ferrari Pro, meanwhile, has lost a little bit of time to Marcus Costa. It was 1.8 1 point, now it's 1.1 seconds separating the two.
And ACW has dropped back a fair bit as well, 2.2 seconds behind, so evidently my prediction of his car starting to switch on isn't exactly correct. ACW losing time to the top two, and Costa is closing in on the race leader. But it is going to be tough to pass in these conditions, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Ferrari Pro won't make it easy. Here's the worthless camera angle, looking back at the driver's helmet. Didn't know that was a feature here on this track. I had no idea.
I just went on my own view, and then yet showed me the exact same thing.
Yeah, just strange. I don't know why it's in the game. Doesn't show any racing out on track. It just shows you the helmet, which you can clearly see on the T-cam anyway. So, well, rambling. Meanwhile, there's a fight on for P5 still between Silderfort and Spicy. Vengeance not too far behind as Ferrari Pro. Oh, wiggle there from Silderfort. Big old wiggle.
Yeah, but here comes Spicy.
Oh, he's got to run, surely.
Silderfort trying to cover the inside. That might compromise them a bit. Oh, Spicy nearly had the run there going through turn 1 and 2, but just did not have enough because of Silderfort covering him off. How will this fare, though, as they head towards the sweeping bends of 5 and 6? Oh,
2, 4 into 5, around turn 6.
Oh, 4 to 5, rather, sorry.
And up towards turn 7 and 8. Spicy, he is so close, and he's probably got more pace than Silderfort, but just in these conditions, he can't find a way by. He's just stuck there in P6, and that's allowing Vengeance to creep back into this battle. So it's definitely on here for P5 on track. And it seems that Ferrari Pro has decided to turn on the afterburners, and he's pulling away from Marcus Costa. Gap is now 1.6 seconds. So he is pushing out there.
Yeah, he's flying a bit more pace. They're both equal on batteries too, the two of them, what I've been noticing.
Oh, using plenty of curb there, Spicy. Using all of the racetrack to try and apply pressure to Silderfort. Heading down the straightaway towards turn 17. Spicy in the slipstream, closing in bit by bit. See Silderfort defending the inside hard. Looking around the long way here at the hairpin. Can't quite get it done, can he? Oh!
Silderfort covers the inside. Doesn't go for the yeah, no switchback for this time around. Oh, contact! Oh, contact there between the two.
And here comes Vengeance! Through the middle, right, and he takes fifth.
That was right on cue.
Silderfort's fighting though. He's trying to fight, and here comes Spicy down the inside of turn 3. He gets in front of Silderfort. Oh, big wiggle there from Silderfort, and he has to concede. He's down to 7th. Yellow flags are out as well. That might be Hillers. He's lost it a long way down this straight. What happened? That's a huge way down.
I don't know. That's interesting.
Pulled off a magic trick to lose the car there, if he's done it by himself.
Well, he's got a missing front wing for good measure.
He'll probably retire. He can afford to retire. He won't be improving position.
Yeah.
So you can call it for a couple of laps, cool yourself down and get ready for the race. And yeah, I think he's going to retire. Based off the speeding pit. There it is. So, fair enough, I guess. I mean, you're not losing anything by retiring, so.
Oh, yeah. Especially won't score any of the points.
Yeah, so. Costa still within a second, but just hasn't really closed in any more than that to Ferrari Pro.
It's just been hovering back and forth. It's just it goes over 1.5 seconds, then it goes to nearly a second, and somehow they set fastest lap. Well, Marcus Costa now says fastest lap now with a 40.8.
Still, I know they're either. Spicy, as I mentioned earlier, had pace in P6, but he was stuck behind Silderfort. Now he's stuck behind Vengeance. He's still got decent car speed. He'll try and get by here. But Vengeance doing a nice job.
Yeah. Now, what I was reacting to there, why I was saying ooh, was because Marcus clobbered way too much of turn 1, and that cost him about 4/10 through that one corner alone. And yeah, you could see the gap is now just started to increase just a bit by bit, but he'll gain that time back thanks to using the afterburners of battery that he's got at his disposal.
Yeah, you can see the gap now closing to almost 1 second as they head into turn 11. So Costa's got car speed, but he's running out of laps and corners to try and get the move done on Ferrari Pro. As long as Ferrari Pro keeps his head, doesn't make any mistakes, he can take the win here for the sprint race at Miami. Be our first ever sprint race winner. Be quite an achievement. And also in the special Ferrari livery as well. So.
Yeah, the 75th anniversary car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. I wish Ferrari would do something like that more often with that yellow. It just looks better.
Yeah.
A lot better.
It does contrast nicely with their standard liveries. It does work well. Now, Spicy is still on the back of Vengeance, unable to find a way by. Vengeance doing a really solid job, hanging on to 5th place. He's only a second in front. And actually, there's something. Vengeance sets fastest lap, so he's actually got more pace than anybody else out on track right now, and he's closing in on Plebs quite considerably.
Yeah, he's really... a moment there.
Well, I just noticed down on his telemetry, he's got 70 odd degrees on the left-hand side tyres. They're burning up a storm.
Yeah. The sun's peeking over the clouds, I can see, so that means the track is drying up. But of course, his Plebs runs wide there. That's going to compromise there. Here comes Vengeance.
Down the inside,
down
he's
the back
looking.
Straightaway. Yep. Oh, that's tight there. I think Vengeance has... Well, who's got the better straight line speed is the question. It looks like they're both even.
And Plebs has the inside line, so he's going to send it in deep, park it on the apex if he can. He's going to run Vengeance out wide, but Vengeance has the inside line for 12. As they go around the right-hander up towards 13. Plebs trying desperately to hang on here, and this introduces Spicy into the battle through the chicane, cutting the chicane, and gets a 3-second time penalty.
Yep.
Ouch.
You can't go side by side through there. You just can't. No. Like I said.
Someone has to concede. No one conceded, and as a result, Vengeance has got a time penalty.
Marcus Costa at a moment there coming out of the third to last corner, but that's going to give Ferrari Pro the sprint win there.
Yes, Ferrari Pro wins, Costa second, ACW in third, and Vengeance is in front of Plebs, but that won't matter at the end of the day. Vengeance is going to lose a fair few places with this time penalty. He will cross the line in 4th, but it'll be Plebs who finishes 4th, then Spicy, then Silderfort. Vengeance will start P7 for the main race here at Miami. Chip is the next driver in 8th, followed by Roscoe Arm. GeForce Zach will round out the top 10 for Aston Martin. Spag sets fastest lap. Should note as well, you don't get bonus points for fastest laps in the sprint as well.
Nope.
So that it's a nice little yay, you did it sort of award for you, but you don't get points. So
we'll just call it a participation trophy.
Yeah, that's it.
In a sense.
A well done trophy.
Yeah, a well done trophy. There you go. But if Vengeance would have just waited, I don't know, just not go side by side or try to go side by side that you can, he would have been better off not being at 7th for the next race. So yeah, that cost him quite a bit. Quite.
So yeah, kind of ignore the points a little bit, or rather drop him down an extra 2 places, because the Ferrari Pro would end up scoring 10 points in this race. Costa will end up scoring 9, ACW will score 8, and so on. Outside of the top 3, you have Plebs, Spicy, Silderfort, Vengeance, Chip, Roscoe Arb, and Zach. That's the top 10. Those are the drivers who score points. Power Sight will start P11. Same with he'll start alongside his teammate Marvelance in P12. Pump P13, followed by Bags, Andre, Pato, Karma, Hilles, and Nick will start from the back. A couple of drivers getting into trouble over the course of the race. So they got a lot of work to do in the main race here at Miami. Now, is it dry or is it wet? I've still got no message from anybody.
I haven't seen anything either.
All right, well, let's find out. Oh, look.
Hello, dry weather.
All right, KD, this poses an interesting question. From from both sessions, so you end up using either 2 or 3 sets of soft compound tyres in qualifying. Then you use a set of wets during the sprint race. What do you do in terms of strategy then? Because you have 2 sets of mediums you can play with in the main race now.
Well,
do you want to try and 2-stop it?
You could try. I'm not sure how it will be, how effective it will be, but you could try that, or you can go for the safer option and go for the medium hard. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, at least you'll get 2 sets of mediums. That's the main thing.
And of course, if we have any safety cars during the race, that will just change things up anyway. So
yeah. Or you could go soft. Sorry, go ahead.
And around here, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a safety car at some point. So.
Oh, I wouldn't either. I was going to mention too, maybe just you could try and go stuff hard, like get aggressive at the start. Obviously, your tires will burn off and whatnot.
Well, it's quite a surprising list here.
Wow. I did not expect that, actually, to be fair.
Top 5 for iPro, Costa, ACW, Plebs, and Spicy. They're all going to be starting on the hard compound tyre for the Miami Grand Prix. Silderfort P6 will be starting on the mediums. Vengeance, who did finish 4th, but will start 7th thanks to a time penalty. He's starting on the hard tyre. Chip is starting on the hard tyre. Roscoe Arm is starting on a set of mediums in 9th. Zach and Powerside are starting on hard tyres. Marvland is starting on mediums. And he's the last driver starting on the medium tyre. Only 3 cars are starting on the mediums for this Miami Grand Prix. Everybody else, Pump, Bags, Andre, Pato, Karma, Hilles, and Nick, they're all starting on the hard tyre. No one's starting on the softs. So,
yeah,
I guess that sort of answers our pre-race question. I think 1 stop is still the way to go.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, fair enough, I suppose.
But then again, anything that happens during the race, it will shake things up. So.
And like we said before, it's like they do have 2 sets of mediums that they can fall back on in case something does happen.
That's right. Which is awfully nice compared to a normal Grand Prix where you have only 1 set, and if you get damage at some point, you don't have that extra set of mediums to fall back on. This time you do, so it's a bit nicer in that regard. You can see the drivers as well really weaving, and that's because they're on the hard tyre. It takes forever to get them up to temperature, so you need to work the tyre quite aggressively in order to get them into an optimal range. So, no.
And and the pit strategy is giving me a hard medium from lap 16 to 23 as the pit window.
16 to 23. All right. Write
That's
that down and keep that in mind. So top 2 are lined up, ready to go. We'll just be waiting on the tail of the field to line up into their respective grid slots, and we could get the proper 29 lap race underway. Vengeance has been disqualified from the formation. Lappy's overshot his box. Now we're just waiting on Nick to line up into his, and we'll get this underway. Alright. So, the sprint race shenanigans are out of the way. It's now time for the main race. We have 10 red lights. And we're underway once again here in Miami. It's a nice start from Costa. And he has the inside line down to turn 1. He needn't worry about Ferrari Pro into turn 1. He will lead out of the opening corner. Plebs fighting Ferrari Pro through turn 2. Heading around turn 3 now. Plebs with the inside line. He gets in front into P2. Behind him is ACW, then Silverfort and Spicy as they head into the S section. Turns 4, 5 and 6. Costa already building a 1 second margin to Plebs and P2. They're heading around the sweeper of turns 7 and 8, heading up to the flat out section up towards turn 11. You can see here ACW.
Under pressure. Yep, brake pressure ACW bring pressure to Ferrari Pro. Oh, goodness, that's close. They're inches apart, these two. Making their way to the 11-12.
Around the outside, he looks. ACW, he'll have the inside line for turn 12. Sends it in and gets in front. Ferrari Pro has to concede. He's down to 4th. ACW up to 3rd. Bigger. Oh, clobbering the curb big time there at turn 15, heading around turn 16. But quite incredible to see no one really getting into any major drama on the opening lap.
Yeah, well, just the only big thing was that Ferrari Pro just lost 3 places off the start. He had an awful start off the line. Weaving it back in the background, that's an Aston Martin, I think, that was warming up the tires. I think that might have been G4 stack. Oh,
ACW.
Oscar
Wiggle there from Silver Fort. ACW caught in the crossfire. Now, ACW at some point was in 5th place. He's re-overtaken Silderford, so he's in 4th. Silderford trying to fight, though, down the inside of turn 1. Does not commit to the move. He stays behind. But something happened to ACW at 17. Didn't capture it, but he's now lost P3. Ferrari Pro is now back up in front of him. He's got a bit of work to do to catch up to Plevs. And Plevs has got a lot of work to do to catch up to Costa. Costa is pulling away.
Oh, he is pulling. I think his ACW is going very wide. That might be a warning, actually, for running that deep there at turn 8. I think he might have maybe lost the back end coming out of 17. Like I mentioned before, it is very easy to do if you are not careful on the traction. But here comes Silverford, though. He is on the back of ACW, and he's looking. But
doesn't commit to the overtake there. He decides to back out of it. Didn't quite have enough momentum to really send it down the inside. Excuse me. As Vengeance and Zach are battling for position through turn 13 up to the chicane of 14 and 15. Oh, yeah, cutting the track. That's Roscoe. He had to cut the track there. Didn't get a time penalty for corner cutting, but he might have got a warning. Not totally sure, knowing this game. If anything, it probably would have gave him a 10-second time penalty if he was in the wrong. So
probably.
Pato closes in. Marvelin deep under brakes. Bags in the fight as well. Trying to look around the outside of Pato here at the exit of turn 17. Can't keep the fight alive. Pato will hang on to P12. Although Bags is close. Probably not close enough to send it into turn 1. Not quite close enough anyway.
Yep, and now DRS is coming into play here as well. Oh, as hell as trying to get past a pump at turn 2. But yeah, Costa just pulling away. Nearly 2 seconds. He is flying. But meanwhile, Plevs is now going to be under pressure from Ferrari Pro as they make their way down the back straightaway.
Well, here comes the Ferrari. He's using a bit of battery. Switches it off now as they head into turn 9. Around the left-hander of turn 10. Up towards turn 11. And look at the overspeed.
Holy moly, that's quite a bit.
Silderford does a similar thing to ACW.
Yeah, what's funny, it looked promising when he first opened it, and then it kind of like just stopped midway as he tried to get past Plevs. Or, well, at least from what it looked like to me. Oh, as Silverford clobbered a lot of the curve there. And does it again a little bit there at 16. But doesn't compromise him too much.
Yeah, no, you can afford to kind of clobber over the curbs through that section. You're going slow enough to not lose a car more often than not anyway. So
yeah, of course. Yeah, Plevs closing in with DRS. Vengeance overtaking Chip at 17.
A nice move there down the inside. He's now into P7. He's now got a 1.1 second gap to close in, and that's just spicy in the Mercedes-Benz. He's got his teammate in front of him, ACW, who is losing a little bit of ground to Silderford. The gap's now 1 second between the Mercedes and Red Bull drivers, so he needs to get on with it. Close that gap up, and he's doing that.
Costa's lost losing time here. He was up by nearly 1.9 seconds. Now the gap is decreasing. Something must have happened to mark it. He must have made a mistake or something, a costly mistake that's cost him a significant amount of time. Well, the fortunate thing for him, he's not within DRS threats, but still. I'm just curious what happened to him, though.
What's going on back here? We got some battles going on for the lower point scoring places. Down into turn 11, Hille's trying to look for a move on Pato. Can't quite get it done. And Andre,
Yeah.
he's a bit further back. It's Marvelant in the Alfa Romeo who's in this fight.
Yeah, you got Pump and Bags still battling out too. Well, they were battling out for a little bit through 12 and 13.
Down the straightaway. Yellow flags are out. It's Nick.
Yep, at the chicane of 15.
He gets going again, but he's a long, long way behind now. Gonna need a safety car, I think, realistically, to bring himself back into the fight. Yeah, it seems that, Costa, he's lost a little bit of something. Either that or just Ferrari Pro is that quick right now. He's closing in.
Maybe. Well, he's now within under a second from Marcus Costa. I think. Oh, I see what's going on. Marcus Costa isn't really using battery. He's using what he does normally. Doesn't use battery. Ferrari Pro has been using heaps of it. He's at 21% compared to Marcus Costa, who's at 79%. So yeah, he's probably just conserving, is what he's doing.
Fair enough.
I guess, but yeah.
But yeah, now Ferrari Pro is within range, and this will give Ferrari Pro the opportunity to try and save some battery, as Spicy and Vengeance are battling for position. Around turn 12, Vengeance hangs on to P6. This fight is definitely not over as they head into the chicane of turn... Oh, ACW, a 3-second time. But, yeah.
Yep, at the chicane. Oh, that's unlucky.
Ferrari Pro closing in. He's got DRS. Oh, and Silverfort making a move on Plebs as well. Silverfort's got some decent straight line speed in the Red Bull, and he's into P3. Oh, and Marcus Costa.
Marcus Costa's made a mistake, I think. And here comes Ferrari Pro. Oh, I thought he would have momentum. No, Marcus just covers them all. Silverfort sets fast slap with a 32 flat. Marcus made a slight error there going through turn 17. I thought it would open the door more for Ferrari Pro.
Pato goes into pit lane on lap 6. He must have damage. It would be the only reason why you pit in this early. No, it's a strategic thing.
No, it's a tactical stop. Okay. Interesting.
Well, if he's... Pato's actually retired from the session, so... Okay. Either something's up or... yeah.
Maybe the game just... Maybe he had front-wing damage and the game just didn't do that for him. I have seen that happen before. Where you have it on auto. And you never trust it, really, from what I've learned. Yeah, you never trust it. Yeah. He probably had damage and he was hoping that the crew would fix it and they never did.
Up towards turn 16. Costa's going to be surrounded by a lot of quick cars in a moment. Although he has got a nice exit out of 16. He's built up half a second over Ferrari Pro, but he will close in. Ferrari Pro heading up towards 17. Not by enough though to attack. He closes to within 3/10 of the leading Williams. Silverfort just behind. You can see the sparks flying off Plevs' McLaren in P4. Scraping along the tarmac to begin lap 7 of 29. We've still got a long, long way to go as Vengeance sets a new fastest lap in P6. So we've got a 6-car train at the front of the field. Costa's leading it. At the end of it is Vengeance. So it's quite literally a Williams sandwich out there. Fairly big Williams sandwich, but a sandwich nonetheless. So they head into turn 4, then turn 5, then into the triple left of 6, 7, and 8. Ferrari Pro just chipping away at that gap. Now, you mentioned to me pre-stream that DRS trains were more than likely going to be a thing. It looks like we're going to be seeing one here.
Yep, we've got one from P1 to P6. And I see that going for quite some time, probably.
I imagine strategy is going to sort this out more than anything else. We'll probably see a bit of battling between Costa and Ferrari Pro, I imagine.
Yeah.
But everywhere else in that train, it's going to be tough to battle.
Oh, yeah. Probably we'll see drivers try to attempt some undercuts, maybe, if possible. I'm not sure what the undercut is in terms of how powerful it is, to be quite fair. Because the race I did, had safety cars involved, and I never got the indication of how powerful it is. So maybe if it keeps going Green Flag Racing, we'll see how it actually is.
No, Ferrari Pro just minding his own business at the moment. He's not really saving battery though, so he is pushing. See, he's on 12% right now. Compared to Costa, who's on 76. I think that's 78 now.
Yeah, he's not trying to push, is what he's trying to do. Because, like I mentioned, that could be another reason why he lost so much time on the previous laps. Or he made a mistake. I don't know. But either way, he's been doing a fairly good job holding on with that battery.
Absolutely.
At 83%. I mean, that takes quite a lot. That takes skill to do that.
Well, yeah, he's got enough car speed naturally to keep everyone else at bay, where everyone else is having to spend battery to keep the fight alive. Like Silverford on 29, Plevs in 20s just then. ACW's on 10%, Vengeance is on 20%, Spicy's on 20, Chips on 22, Roscoe's on 11, Bags is on 22, 29 for... Like, Marcus has got so much more battery compared to everyone else right now. Quite literally everyone else.
Oh, yeah. He just used a little bit there just to pull away from Ferrari Pro.
Yeah.
Just because he was so close to him, but of course he won't be close enough to do anything here. Oh, but I think he might have missed the apex there just a little bit, but it didn't compromise his run there, which I'm surprised about. No,
he lost about a tenth at the apex, but then he gathered it up at the exit. He got a really nice exit out of the hairpin, and he pulled away. So, yeah, Ferrari Pro's just kind of stuck there in P2, but he shouldn't be too... Oh, Plev's running wide. I noticed that. I think he ran wide. It certainly looked like it from the camera angle.
Yeah, he did. He ran wide, and then he also clobbered the curb at turn 2. The right side turn 2.
Other battles going on elsewhere. Roscoe Arm and Bags battling for P9. Roscoe Arm is trying to get within a second of Chip, so they can turn it into a three-way fight for P8. And I think Roscoe Arm will get DRS here, more than likely. He's within a second. And yeah, the DRS detection zone is actually at the exit of turn 8, so pretty early detection zone. You think it'd be a bit later. Oh, as
power side has that a moment. Yep, that is at turn 8.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a bit interesting. DRS. Oh, as ACW's got a penalty, and Hillis too. But it's pretty interesting because
he got spinning Hillis. Oh dear. He spun at the entry of turn 13. He's now in front of his teammate Andre.
Has he got damage? I can't see anything wrong. Oh, he's got an end plate missing.
Oh, so he'll have to come into the pits.
Yep, front right missing end plate. And Ferrari Pro still within half a second. Still the fourth. That's under fastest up with a 31.9.
Yellows are out again. It's Andre this time.
Well, looks like the Hasses are not doing great in there. Oh, hello! Contact between him and Karma.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Karma and him just make contact for the 17th. Oh, hello! Karma spun, too. Well, there you go. He spins and they go into pit lane. It would nearly tag each other. Thankfully, didn't do so.
Hard tyres at the ready for Karma. I believe it'll be hard, medium tyres rather for Andre here. And a front wing change to boot. So yeah. Some drivers having a not great day here in Miami at the moment.
It may be all glitz and glamour, but it ain't for them. At least for here, the Sunshine State.
Yeah, no, instead it's just torment and torture with these cars around this track. Nasty piece of work.
Imagine torment, kind of like how the Dolphins were in 2019.
Crofty would like that stuff.
I'm surprised they didn't mention more about the Miami Dolphins, to be fair, considering we are next to the Hard Rock Stadium.
Just about the only thing he mentioned was that the Hard Rock Stadium is used by the Miami Dolphins throughout the entire race.
Yeah.
But then again, like we said pre-stream, there's not much else to talk about with this track, especially when it's brand new.
Nope.
So,
Yeah. It's just pretty much you got the Hard Rock Stadium just sitting right there. And the fact that the track is pretty much just built, well, not built, but it's just basically a tailgate lot. Or what was a tailgate lot for NFL fans.
yeah.
That's converted to a racetrack, that is.
Yeah, with a
And
fictional marina as well, which is just weird.
why does the game have it with real water when it doesn't have real water in real life?
I don't know. Maybe the plan is to actually have a small marina there, IRL, like with actual water rather than just this sort of cardboard, plasticky stuff. I don't know.
I mean, if they would have done something like that, you would have thought they would have done that ahead of time. At least that's what I would have. I don't know. Well, hello, Silver Ford. Here he comes.
Yep. We're into P2.
Yep, with DRS. And Ferrari Pro having DRS too. Some speed there in that Red Bull.
This is the top three from last week. And they're the top three once again.
I won't be surprised if we see this more often this season, I think. Silverford sets a new fast lap as well.
Pump has gone into pit lane from P11. McLaren driver is going to hop off these hard compound tyres and move on to what exactly? A set of mediums. No front wing change, so this is a strategic stop from Pump. And it looks like he's going to try and do a two-stop. So pit lap 12, then do, what? About 13 laps on two sets of medium tyres each.
Pretty much.
So, looks like even though we predicted a one-stop, well, it certainly looked like a one-stopper. Seems that some drivers are actually going to try and commit to a two-stop. It's just none of them were using the soft tyre. That's all. Use the hard tyre instead. So
I guess that, and I guess that's what was the case. But still riding the back of Marcus Goss. I saw them make contact though at turn 8. He was really close to him at one point. Silverfort was, but couldn't make anything.
Bags Liddell has spun.
Yep, that's the chicane.
Yikes.
Poor fella.
Into turn 17, Silverfort close, but not close enough to attack the race leader. He looked like he had some serious straight line speed when he passed Ferrari Pro. So evidently he might have a lower wing setup compared to his rivals, which is something that Silverfort has done for a few races actually. Just have a really fast car down the straights. He's going to close in a little bit here on Costa, just a little, not by enough though to attack as Roscoe Arm goes into pit lane. And he'll move off his medium tyres rather, and move on to a set of hard tyres.
Oh! What? Oh, that was lag on my end. Okay.
No, I don't think so.
No, no, because I swear, on my end, Marcus was like right alongside with Silverford at the apex of the exit of the corner of the left-hander, and then he just teleported like another few hundred meters ahead. Like that was on my end, at least.
Right.
Yeah.
Side-by-side action between Vengeance and ACW, heading around 13 into turn 14, and ACW. Oh, contact spinning, and around goes Vengeance into the wall. Oh, no. Oh.
Okay, well, that's not lag at least, but... Oh, hello there, Chip.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Side-by-side through the chicane don't work.
Yep. I've said that. Yep. Been saying that quite a bit so far today, and that proves it.
And it's happened to Vengeance again. First time he had to cut the chicane. Second time he's been spun by ACW. So yeah, I thought ACW backed out of the move. I thought he'd just let Vengeance through, but he didn't. He kept the nose in there. The two made contact, and Vengeance got the short end of the stick, and he was put into the wall. And he's actually gone into pit lane. So he evidently got damage from his incident at the chicane. So he's going to move on to a set of medium compound tyres. probably do a two-stopper, I would think. Yeah, he's got a missing end plate on the right-hand side, so massive blow for him. He's got a lot of work to do, but he's not out of the race, and we've still got a long way to go.
Yeah, of course. Meanwhile, at the front, still pretty much the same line of stern between the top two, and pretty much from P1 to P4 actually. Only difference now with this train is that ACW's fallen further back because of vengeance there.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, well, ACW has closed in a little, 2.8. Oh, now it's increased to 2.5 seconds. So he's actually lost a considerable amount of time through the Mickey Mouse section. So, yeah, it appears it's now a four-car fight at the front. I got there eventually. Costa, Silderfort, Ferrari Pro, and Plebs as Spicy gets by his teammate into P5. So maybe ACW also got damaged with the contact. And it looks like his teammate's going to come in. Interesting.
Yeah, alright. They'll go into, what, a set of mediums, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the go away leaves. Eventually. Oh, there's some pit lane glitches. They're great, aren't they? Just see the car stay there for a solid 3 seconds, and then it teleports into the fast lane. That's great. Oh, well, Silderfort closing in too. So, oh, actually, he's lost time down this straight. He was 2 tenths behind at the exit of turn 8. He's now almost 6 tenths. The gap's increased a fair bit.
Probably, maybe he had a little bit of contact, I guess, and maybe, yeah, because that similarly happened not too long ago as well, where they were like closely to one another by just less than 3 tenths, and then the gap increased because of some slight contact. And that's not the lag, and it's not the lag spike I was talking about either.
Oh.
That's a different story.
Costa's still looking pretty comfortable out in front. He's got... Well, he's actually spent a fair bit of his battery that he saved. He's now on 45%. Silderfort's now got the same level of battery. So they're even in terms of resources. Ferrari Pro is still low, and so is Plebs. But he's on the back of this, still preparing to fight. Oh, as ACW comes in. Set of mediums for him. On they go away leaves. Nice quick stop. Bags will jump up and close.
Yep, and Spicy, his teammates coming down the main straightaway now. And I think there might be a good chance he'll overtake ACW. Maybe.
No, ACW gets out in front by a lot.
Oh, it nearly shoves Marvelette a little bit up. Thankfully nothing bad happened there. I thought they would have been alongside each other.
Well, remember, ACW has to get his tyres up to temperature, so he's going to have less than ideal grip for a few corners. You can see Spicy closing in bit by bit. So the undercut not working massively for Spicy. Here comes the Mercedes driver on Marvelette. He's looking to the inside here. The Alfa Romeo leaves the door wide open. Sends it in D. Almost makes contact.
Nearly.
That was close.
Yeah. That was a hard mouth moment there.
Oh, and Tellez has a big old slide coming out of 15. Huge tank slapper, but he managed to get control of his car. Still running well. And ACW, I don't think he'll be close enough to attack here. Leaders, meanwhile, making their way around turn 3 as Chip pits in to get off the hard tyre, move on to a set of mediums. So I think with these guys, they're actually going to try and do a one-stop, probably try and do 50-50 with the medium and a hard tyre. But then again, we now got, what, 14 laps to go, so it won't quite be 50-50.
Well, to be fair credit as well, you can also say Silderfort's been hanging on with those mediums for about 16 laps.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if his game plan is that he's planning on going to the softs maybe do a medium soft strategy.
Maybe. It'll be a bit of a risky game to play, but if he thinks he can make it work, then, you know, it'll be interesting to see how it will fare. Because, yeah, when he's on the hard tyre, how much of a disadvantage would he have compared to everyone else on the mediums?
Right. It would be quite a bit. Well, SCW overtakes Hellas for
running wide at Spicy. Gee whiz, he used all of the racetrack there at the exit of turn 11. I've noticed drivers using all of the track limits and then some around here.
Yep.
Oh, as Costa pits in. Same with Plebs.
Andre gets a 3-second penalty. Yeah, I think it's just it's the wider line is just it helps you just to get the better entry into the corners. Is basically why they've been doing that, obviously.
Oh yeah, it's definitely for performance games, but the main thing is that the game isn't pinging him on it as Hilles has spun at pit. Oh, and the two drivers have spun behind as well. Nick has spun. Vengeance is coming through. It must have only been one car that spun, that being Nick, behind Hilles, of course.
Yeah, and Hilles just got almost collected in that whole sort of incident.
So let's see here. Costa and Plevs, they're in P4 and P5 right now. And both guys have a bit of clear air in front of them to work with, so